Guys, how's it going? It's Al. 12 tight ends, my tight end ones for week 2 for your fantasy football team. Start sit questions. This is how you answer them. These are my top 12. If you have somebody that is not in this top 12 versus somebody who is in this top 12, you must play the tight ends who are in the top 12. This is who we're looking at. These are my rankings for week 2 of NFL fantasy football. I hope that you enjoy it, and I wish you the best of luck this weekend in your matchup against your stupid friends and family in your friends and family leagues. I hope you beat them. Let me try and help. Let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is open on DraftKings. You can go to smizzle.tv/links and you will find the link to get to that. It is a 4,000 person tournament, $10 entry fee, only 3 max. You can only enter it 3 times. There's absolutely no rake. There is no better tournament on DraftKings than the Smiz Gang Listener League. Make sure that you get your spot before it fills. If it doesn't fill, it's still going to pay out, but they're going to make it smaller next week. So don't be the one that was not getting into this league. That was the reason why they made it smaller next week. So get your entries now, reserve them before lineups lock, and good luck to you all. Shout out all 10 winners on the recap video right here on the Fantasy Football channel on Monday. My number 1 tight end should be obvious to you if you are not under a rock and understand what fantasy football is. It's Travis Kelce. He played on Thursday Night Football. I'm recording this before Thursday Night Football, so I have no idea how he did. Hopefully he did well. Travis, I hope you had a good game because I'm expecting you to do just that. Should be the highest target getter on the Chiefs. Week in and week out, there's very little ways that you can stop a tight end from getting targeted based on where they line up, especially how much they get him in coverage against linebackers and safeties, which is preferred than having them line up against cornerbacks. Very tough for a tight end to get separation from a cornerback. Even though they are bigger, it leaves quarterbacks smaller windows to throw through and relies on contested catch rate and tougher throws because of those smaller windows. So Travis Kelce is the perfect tight end in the perfect situation with the perfect skill set and the perfect quarterback, possibly the perfect coach, and he is my tight end 1 once again. Mark Andrews comes in at number 2 for me. He led the position last week in terms of air yards earned, right? He had like 90 air yards last week, just did not really connect with Lamar Jackson. Has another great spot here against Miami. Miami's defense a lot tougher than the Jets defense. 7 targets, 5 catches in week 1 for him. Only 52 yards gained, but his average depth of target was so high. His average yards per route run was so high on a week in, week out basis. He's historically great in terms of those underlying metrics that he's gonna have a big game at some point. The targets are going to be there. They were playing from ahead in the second half and really didn't have to challenge. Miami is going to have a better offense. It's going to present a better offense to them this week that is going to challenge them and force them to score more points. I think this game is very likely a sneakier shootout than most want to admit, and I like Andrews a lot this week. Darren Waller slides into the number 3 spot on my rankings here. Las Vegas is tied with the Rams for the highest expected team total or implied team total at 28.5 points. Now, he does have to contend with the fact that Devontae Adams and the shower narrative with Derek Carr are in play, right? It's 17 targets is a lot. I don't think that is sustainable. So if Adams comes down to like a normal human number for a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver and target monster of like 12, which would still be a lot. If a wide receiver gets 12 targets a week, that's absurd. Every single week, if that's where he lives, great. Because some of those targets are going to trickle down to Darren Waller and trickle down to Hunter Renfrow. He did not get completed on a pass in the end zone this week, or his week 1 would have looked a lot better. So Darren Waller in a great spot again here against Arizona, whose defense I have listed on my possibly 3 Carnival defenses. Usually there's only 1. The Carnival teams are Dallas, well, less so now without Dak Prescott, Arizona, who lost a ton off the defense that they had last year and is now operating with somewhat of a shell, and you saw them get completely throttled last week, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who score a lot of points, and their defense doesn't do a great job of stopping people, which means that the offense gets to keep their foot on the pedal. That's not an indictment of the team or the defense. It's more about what that means for the offense. So also, on the outside, Las Vegas's defense is not great. And if they allow Arizona to score some points, that's just better for Darren Waller. We want them in positive game script, passing situations, And Darren Waller is my number 3. Number 4 is Kyle Pitts. Tough defensive matchup for him, but like, it doesn't matter when you're as athletically gifted and talented as Kyle Pitts is. I'm expecting a ton of targets coming his way. Last week, Atlanta played from ahead for the majority of their game, and so they just ran the ball with Cordero Patterson. This is not a team that is going to project to play from ahead very often. They're 10-point dogs here this week against the Rams in Los Angeles. So Kyle Pitts could be in store for like 8+ targets at the tight end position, which is an extremely high number at this particular position. He can also make things happen. As I mentioned before about Kelsey, getting him lined up on linebackers and safeties. Last year, Pitts lined up slot and wide more than any tight end in the league, and he matched up with cornerbacks more than any other tight end in the league. And he kind of struggled to get open. Yeah, he could beat a cornerback, but he's going to beat linebackers and safeties way more often. So hopefully we see that materialize as the year goes on, and he's got some big games in store for him. There's no way that I could rank any of the guys below him above Kyle Pitts. If you have Kyle Pitts and you drafted him in the 3rd round of your drafts, you are starting him every week with confidence. Dallas Goedert is my tight end 5. Did nothing to dissuade me from keeping him in this spot this week because Philadelphia threw the ball more than I expected them to. They're going to continue to do that. Jalen Hurts is going to be able to move the ball, and Goddard's going to be targeted downfield like he was this week. So solid floor play. Needs to get more red zone and end zone usage as opposed to them just running the ball relentlessly when they get inside the 5 for him to realize the touchdown upside. But the floor and the target market share are certainly there. TJ Hockenson is my tight end number 6. And if you're still here, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. I come out with videos 6 days a week here on the Fantasy Football channel, and I don't want you to miss even one of them. So please ring that notifications bell. All 3 of those things are very simple to do and help the channel out a ton, more than you could probably even fathom. And it costs you absolutely nothing. If you wanted to share the video, that would be the 4th thing, but you don't have to. But that also helps a ton. So TJ Hockenson, I like this Detroit offense. I know that that's weird, right? I didn't do a puke stack on the main channel. It would have been Jared Goff. There was just too many really good high value stacks for me to hit. And I like this Detroit offense this week. This game has big shootout potential against Washington. And if they get that sort of play, then Hockenson is going to have a big game. Also, we have DeAndre Swift right now missing practice on Wednesday and Thursday. If he doesn't play this week, and obviously the most direct beneficiary is Jamal Williams, but in a lesser sense, Jamal Williams is good in the passing game, but he's not DeAndre Swift good in the passing game, which means that there's a couple of more targets that have to trickle to somebody else, whether it's DJ Chark. I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown can handle any more usage. That means TJ Hockenson running similar routes and depth to a running back would possibly get a little bit of a bump. It would not move him ahead of Goddard for me at 5, but it would solidify him at 6. Dalton Schultz comes in at number 7. Last year, in the one game that he played with Cooper Rush as starter, he got 7 targets, so the volume is fine here. I'm not really buying this Cowboys offense as a whole, but short intermediate routes, that's where Dalton Schultz lives. That's where he wins. There's still touchdown possibility in this spot. Dalton Schultz, easy play for me at 7. Tyler Higbee is my tight end 8. Great spot for the Rams. Already talked about how much how high their team total is, and Atlanta is not really a very good defense. And there's only 3 places right now that the Rams are going to throw the ball with any sort of consistency. That is 1, Cooper Kupp, 2, Allen Robinson. Believe it or not, the ball's going to go to Allen Robinson, and then Tyler Higbee. So if you're telling me you're going to get 17% of the market share in this Rams offense at home in a game where they have an implied total of 28.5 points, I am buying Tyler Higbee as my tight end 8 this week. Alberto coming in at my tight end 9 spot. I think that they're going to stop doing the silly things that they did in week 1 for this Denver team. I'm buying the key shares of this offense. The key shares being Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and Alberto. He's my tight end 9 on the week. He saw a really good amount of targets, even though they kept throwing the ball to like Saubert and Beck and like every other no-name tight end that they have on the roster. You have to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, especially when you have as efficient a quarterback as Russ Wilson. Stop throwing the ball to blockers and get it in the hands of Alberto. I'm hoping that they continue what they did in the second half last week, aside from the letting the clock run out and kicking a field goal part. They were very efficient in moving the ball, just couldn't punch it in on the goal line. They should have won that game, but they fumbled twice. So what can you do? Bad loss for Denver, but good for us as fantasy players, because I believe that the coach, who apologized publicly, said, I got it wrong, right? Hackett said, look, I messed up. Should have gone for it on fourth down. Should have done things a little bit differently. It was my first game as a head coach. We're moving forward from here. I actually like that a lot, because you don't see that sort of transparency from NFL head coaches. Usually they just try to get extra tough. Yeah, I did what I did. You got a problem with it? That's why I'm the boss. We got to run the football and play defense. Like, nah, look, man, I got an all-world quarterback. I should have let him throw it more. Well, hopefully they do that, and Alberto shines. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I think that he's going to be great. And with the injuries that we have at the position and other guys out there, he's fine as a tight end 1 this week. Gerald Everett comes in right behind him. The absence of Keenan Allen should bump his target market share here. Like him at 10. Pat Fryermuth, the Muth is Luth, at tight end 11. It just kind of is what it is once you get to this point. Gerald Everett, Albert O, like the volume's just not going to be, like if you get 5-6 targets a game from any of these guys, you're going to be happy. You're hoping for a touchdown once you get down to this spot. That's how thin tight end is, and that's why I was advocating so much during the beginning of the year, during draft season, that spending up to get one of the elite tight ends is so valuable in 2022 that, like, you're not having to hope that the Muth finds his way Luth in the end zone. It's not something that's easy to hope for. Touchdowns are extremely variant. There are other players on that Pittsburgh team who are going to command the ball, command end zone targets, command red zone targets. So Fryermuth, I've got him projected for 4.5 targets this week. Hopefully he can find his way to the end zone. But based on my projections, he's the tight end 11. And then Dawson Knox rounds out the list as my tight end 12. The last of my tight end 1s for the week. Big time touchdown possibility anytime that you're playing with Josh Allen as your quarterback. We saw that materialize last year. Hopefully the volume rises for him this year, but it's going to be tough playing with Steph Diggs and Gabriel Davis and even Isaiah McKenzie and Crowder. The targets aren't going to be huge, but the touchdown upside is always there. And then you get to hope for the random Josh Allen tight end touchdown of the week, which he tends to throw basically every week, and hopefully it's to Dawson Knox. And I hope that you guys like the video. I wish you all the best in your matchups this weekend, and look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.